When we think of old Hollywood, we imagine the glitz, glamour, and iconic stars leading perfect lives. But behind the scenes, major studios tightly controlled their actors, dictating everything from their clothes to their personal relationships. Today, we'll uncover some of the most profound and heartbreaking stories from that era, revealing the hidden truths behind the silver screen. Judy Garland. Judy Garland soared to international fame at just 17 with her unforgettable role as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. Behind the scenes, however, she grappled with intense personal struggles exacerbated by the oppressive control of MGM Studios and her mother, Ethel Gum. Determined to maintain her image as the innocent girl next door, the studio imposed strict regulations on her life. In 1941, Garland married bandleader David Rose without MGM's consent, igniting the studio's ire. Fearing that marriage and motherhood would diminish her youthful appeal, MGM, with her mother's complicity, pressured her into terminating her pregnancy. This devastating experience occurred twice, as Garland faced the harrowing decision under immense duress both times. The studio's control extended further into her health and well-being. To keep up with a relentless filming schedule, Garland was supplied with stimulants during the day and sedatives at night, leading to a perilous cycle of dependency. She was subjected to extreme dieting measures, often limited to small portions of chicken, soup, black coffee, and cigarettes, to maintain a certain physique deemed suitable by the studio. These relentless pressures took a severe toll on her mental and physical health. Garland's struggles with addiction and self-image were a direct result of the exploitation she endured. Tragically, her life was cut short in 1969 when she died of an accidental overdose at the age of 47, leaving behind a legacy marred by the profound personal costs of her stardom. Rock Hudson. With his rugged good looks, towering stature, and that unforgettable charm, Rock Hudson was the epitome of the 1950s silver screen idol. Women everywhere were smitten, and his movies were box office gold. But behind the dazzling smile and suave demeanor, Rock Hudson was living a lie imposed by the very industry that made him a star. He was gay at a time when being openly homosexual was not just career-ending, it could make you a social pariah. Hollywood studios were obsessed with maintaining the perfect image of their stars, and any deviation was meticulously covered up. To squash rumors about his sexuality, the studio executives concocted a plan. They arranged a marriage between Rock and his secretary, Phyllis Gates, in 1955. The marriage was a strategic move, a facade to keep his leading man image intact in the gossip columns at bay. The union lasted only 3 years, and by most accounts it was more of a business arrangement than a romantic partnership. Rock was forced to hide his true self, leading a double life filled with fear and secrecy. Can you imagine the pressure and loneliness of not being able to be authentic in any aspect of your personal life? Fast forward to the 1980s, and the world was grappling with the AIDS crisis, a disease shrouded in mystery and misinformation. In 1985, Rock Hudson became one of the first major celebrities to be diagnosed with AIDS. His illness brought the epidemic into the public eye like never before. Just before his death, he made the brave decision to acknowledge his sexuality and his battle with AIDS publicly. This revelation was monumental. It not only humanized the AIDS crisis, but also shed light on the struggles faced by LGBTQ individuals, especially those in the unforgiving glare of the Hollywood spotlight. Rock Hudson's courage in his final days helped break down some of the stigma surrounding both disease and homosexuality. Dorothy Dandridge. Let's dive into the riveting and heartbreaking story of Dorothy Dandridge, the trailblazing actress who broke barriers and shattered stereotypes in Hollywood. Often dubbed the Black Marilyn Monroe, Dorothy was a force to be reckoned with, captivating audiences with her stunning beauty and incredible talent. Her performance in Carmen Jones wasn't just mesmerizing, it was historic. She became the first African-American woman nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress. Talk about smashing through a glass ceiling. But behind the glitz and glamour, Dorothy's life was anything but easy. Hollywood in the 1950s was a tough place for a black woman, no matter how talented she was. Racial discrimination was rampant, and the roles offered to her were often limiting and stereotypical. Yet Dorothy refused to be boxed in. Enter Otto Preminger, the influential director of Carmen Jones. The two began a passionate and complicated affair. Preminger was charismatic, powerful, and here's the kicker, married. Their relationship was a risky secret, but for Dorothy, it was also a deep emotional connection. Things took a dramatic turn when she discovered she was pregnant with her child. Now imagine the stakes. Not only was she involved with a married white man, but interracial relationships were a huge taboo back then. In several states, miscegenation laws made interracial marriage illegal. The studio executives were in a panic. A pregnancy could ruin her career and theirs. They pressured her intensely, fearing that motherhood would tarnish her image as a desirable leading lady and jeopardize the profits from future films. With little support, Preminger wasn't about to leave his wife. Dorothy faced an agonizing decision. Under immense pressure from all sides, she was forced to have an abortion. It was a heartbreaking choice that highlighted the severe intersection of racism and sexism she was up against. She had to sacrifice her personal happiness and desires just to keep her place in an industry that barely accepted her to begin with. But that's not all. Even after this traumatic experience, Dorothy continued to fight for meaningful roles and equal pay, often facing blatant discrimination. Studios pigeonholed her into roles that didn't reflect her talent, and opportunities started to dwindle. The emotional toll was heavy. Loretta Young. Let's spill some old Hollywood tea about Loretta Young and Clark Gable, a scandal that Tinseltown tried desperately to hide. Loretta Young, known for her grace and impeccable talent, got caught up in a secret romance with the irresistibly charming Clark Gable during the filming of The Call of the Wild in E35. The twist? Gable was married, and their forbidden affair was the talk of backlot whispers. When Loretta discovered she was pregnant, the stakes skyrocketed. Abortions were illegal and could shatter an actress's career if rumors spread. But Loretta wasn't about to take that route. Instead, she masterminded one of the most elaborate cover-ups in Hollywood history. She vanished from the public eye, citing a mysterious illness, and secretly gave birth to her daughter, Judy. But here's where the plot thickens. To keep up appearances, Loretta staged a highly publicized adoption, pretending she had adopted Judy from an orphanage. The public bought it hook, line, and sinker. This clever ruse allowed her to maintain her wholesome image while raising her own child right under everyone's noses. It wasn't until decades later that the truth emerged, revealing the incredible lengths Loretta Young went to navigate the strict moral codes of Hollywood and protect both her and Gable's careers. This jaw-dropping tale shows just how far stars had to go to preserve their reputations in an era when scandals could end careers overnight. Loretta's story is a testament to her resourcefulness and the intense pressures faced by actresses in the golden age of cinema. Bette Davis. The legendary Bette Davis was a powerhouse actress known for her intense performances and no-nonsense attitude. But did you know about the life-changing decision she made that helped launch her into superstardom? In 1934, Bette was on the verge of becoming a big name in Hollywood. She was offered the role of a lifetime, but there was a complication. She was pregnant. Back then, the film industry was ruthless, especially toward actresses who didn't fit the studio's carefully crafted image. Motherhood could mean the end of her career before it even truly began. Faced with an impossible choice, Bette made the agonizing decision to terminate her pregnancy. She later reflected on this period, admitting that she might have missed out on her most significant opportunities if she hadn't made that sacrifice. And indeed, shortly after, she took on the role of Mildred Rogers in Of Human Bondage. Her performance was nothing short of groundbreaking. Critics and audiences were blown away by her portrayal of the cold-hearted waitress, and it earned her the first of 10 Academy Award nominations. This role was a turning point, cementing her status as one of Hollywood's leading ladies. Bette Davis didn't just stop there. She went on to win 2 Oscars and became known for her fierce independence and willingness to fight the studio system for better roles and artistic control. She challenged the status quo, paving the way for future generations of actresses. Her story shines a light on the harsh realities women faced in old Hollywood. Personal sacrifices were often demanded just to stay in the game. Bette's tough choices highlight the immense pressure actresses were under to conform to studio expectations, often at the expense of their personal lives. Lana Turner. Lana burst onto the scene at just 17, captivating audiences with her beauty and talent in films like Love Finds Andy Hardy. But behind the shimmering facade, Lana's life was filled with drama that rivaled any of her on-screen roles. Lana's personal life was nothing short of a roller coaster. She was famously married 8 times to 7 different men, a testament to her search for lasting love in an industry that often prioritized image over personal happiness. Her relationships were frequently splashed across tabloids, making her a constant subject of public fascination and speculation. In the early 1940s, Lana faced one of her most challenging personal ordeals. While her career was skyrocketing, she became pregnant, a situation that studios in that era often viewed as a threat to an actress's marketability. The pressure to maintain her image as a youthful and unattached star was immense. Studios wielded significant control over their actors' personal lives, sometimes making drastic decisions to preserve their investments. It's been reported that Lana was compelled by the studio to make difficult personal choices to protect her career. The details surrounding these events highlight the extreme measures Hollywood studios would take to manage their stars' images. Stories suggest that the studios arranged for her to address her pregnancy discreetly, reflecting the lack of autonomy many actresses had over their own lives at the time. One particularly shocking aspect is how the financial burden of such situations often fell on the actresses themselves. There are accounts indicating that any costs incurred were deducted from their salaries, underscoring the studio's prioritization of profit over personal well-being. Ava Gardner. With her smoldering looks and undeniable talent, Ava was the epitome of silver screen glamour. Her marriage to the legendary Frank Sinatra was nothing short of a Hollywood blockbuster. But her life was not easy. She became pregnant during their whirlwind romance, a moment that should have been joyous. However, MGM Studios had other plans. Back in those days, studios wielded immense power over their stars, and MGM's strict contracts included harsh penalty clauses that basically forbade actresses from having children without the studio's blessing. Imagine being caught between becoming a mother and potentially destroying your career. Ava knew that if she chose to have the baby, she could be suspended without pay or even blacklisted. Plus, Sinatra wasn't exactly flush with cash at the time. His career was in a slump, and he was struggling financially. Feeling trapped and with few options, Ava made the agonizing decision to have an abortion. The studio orchestrated everything in secret, ensuring that the public and the press remained oblivious. It was all about protecting their investment, showing a cold disregard for her personal well-being. This heartbreaking episode highlights the brutal choices actresses were often forced to make. They had to navigate a treacherous landscape where personal desires were sacrificed on the altar of fame and career survival. Ava Gardner's experience sheds light on the darker side of Hollywood's golden age, where the glitter often hid the grim reality of control and exploitation. Jean Harlow. Jean Harlow, the original blonde bombshell, who took Hollywood by storm in the 1930s. With her platinum blonde hair, sultry voice, and undeniable charisma, she was the epitome of glamour and the ultimate screen siren. But everything was not white. Just imagine you are one of the biggest stars in the world, but you still have almost zero control over your personal life. That's exactly what happened to Jean. MGM Studios had her under an ironclad morality clause, which was basically a fancy way of saying they owned her personal decisions. They dictated everything, from what she wore to who she could date. Jean fell deeply in love with fellow actor William Powell, and the feeling was mutual. They wanted to get married, but the studio bosses had other ideas. MGM outright forbade the union. Why, Palma? Because they believed that Jean being single made her more alluring to male audiences. In their minds, a married bombshell just wasn't as marketable. Can you imagine your employer telling you that you can't marry the love of your life because it might hurt their profits? The studio's grip on her life didn't stop there. They crafted her public image down to the tiniest detail, leaving little room for her true self to shine through. Jean was often cast as the irresistible vixen, but in reality, she was a down-to-earth woman who craved normalcy and genuine connections. Tragically, Jean Harlow's life was cut short. At just 26 years old, she died from kidney failure, a sudden and shocking end that left fans and colleagues devastated. Her untimely death fueled rumors and speculations, with some whispering about foul play or hidden illnesses. The truth was simpler, but no less heartbreaking. The pressures of stardom and the relentless demands of the studio system took a severe toll on her health. John Gilbert. Known as the Great Lover, Gilbert stole hearts with his intense performances in classics like The Big Parade and Flesh and the Devil. His on-screen chemistry with Greta Garbo was the stuff of legend, and he was poised for even greater heights. But when Hollywood made the leap from silent films to talkies, things took a startling turn for Gilbert. Rumors have swirled for decades about why Gilbert's star dimmed so rapidly. One of the most intriguing and controversial theories involves a bitter feud with Louis B. Mayer, the powerful head of MGM Studios. According to some accounts, Gilbert and Mayer had a personal falling out, possibly over a contract dispute or even a romantic rivalry. It's been said that during a heated argument, Gilbert punched Mayer, an act that allegedly set Mayer on a path of vengeance. In this narrative, Mayer is portrayed as using his considerable influence to sabotage Gilbert's career. He supposedly spread rumors that Gilbert's voice was ill-suited for sound films, too high-pitched or effeminate, to erode his leading man image. Additionally, Mayer is alleged to have assigned Gilbert to subpar films with weak scripts, ensuring they'd flop at the box office. The combination of negative press and lackluster roles seemed to tarnish Gilbert's reputation, leading to his precipitous fall from stardom. However, it's important to note that not all historians agree on this version of events. Some suggest that Gilbert's decline was due to a mix of factors, including personal struggles with alcoholism and the immense pressure of the rapidly changing film industry. The transition to sound was challenging for many silent film stars, and Gilbert's acting style, perfect for silent cinema, may not have translated well to talkies. His voice, contrary to rumors, was actually quite adequate, but audience tastes were shifting. Clara B. Clara B was the original It girl who practically defined the Roaring Twenties with her electrifying presence and free-spirited vibe. She wasn't just a movie star, she was a cultural icon who embodied the flapper era like nobody else. But behind those sparkling eyes and that infectious smile was a life filled with challenges that Hollywood would rather have kept hidden. Did you know that Clara came from incredibly humble beginnings? Growing up in a tough Brooklyn neighborhood, she faced hardships that would have broken many. Her father was often absent, and her mother struggled with mental health issues, making Clara's childhood anything but easy. Despite this, she skyrocketed to fame with films like It and Wings, the latter being the first movie ever to win an Academy Award for Best Picture. But fame came with a price. The tabloids couldn't get enough of her, spinning wild stories about alleged affairs and partying. They painted her as a wild child, and these sensational headlines often overshadowed her groundbreaking work as an actress. Clara was one of the first actresses to bridge the gap between silent films and talkies, showing incredible versatility at a time when many struggled with the transition. The constant media scrutiny and relentless work schedule took a heavy toll on her mental health. Clara suffered a nervous breakdown, and instead of offering support, Paramount Pictures saw it as an opportunity to cut her loose. Can you believe that? She was just 28 when she effectively got pushed out of the industry she helped revolutionize. What's even more heartbreaking is that mental health wasn't something people talked about back then, especially not in Hollywood. Clara retreated from the spotlight, battling her inner demons largely in silence. Her struggles highlight the lack of understanding and compassion for mental health issues during that era. The golden age of Hollywood was not just a time of cinematic brilliance, but also an era marked by stringent control and personal sacrifice. These stories shed light on the hidden struggles of some of the industry's most iconic figures. They endured immense pressures, manipulations, and injustices, all concealed beneath the glamorous facade presented to the world. As we reflect on their experiences, we gain a deeper appreciation for their resilience and the complex realities they navigated in pursuit of their art.